get to is The Priory of the Orange Tree. This is a humongous book and I do not know when I will physically own it. I'm definitely gonna get to it and I'm really excited. I've heard nothing but good things. So I snatched Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a big hunk of book. This was on my summer TBR. I'm going to pick up The Priory of the Orange Tree. I split this up into 100-page increments. That I'm just kind of worried if I keep reading like a giant book, I might just like want to die. About 100 pages in. It's definitely slow going. There are so many characters, and I'm sorry, I just like don't want to hold this up. Yeah, I'm about 100 pages in. It just was really slow. I think I'm getting more into it now, like reading it faster. But like everything was like thrown at me at once, and there were definitely like 16 characters, like main characters, and I'm like, what the frick is doing? Read about 50 more pages of The Priory of the Orange Tree. So I'm on page 153. And the thing about this book is that I'm trying to hold it and it's heavy, so I just don't remember the characters. So it takes me like 50 pages to figure out who's who. Not even who's who, like who the f you are. And so it follows, I want to say like 8 different characters. Like it's a lot of people. And it's kind of like their involvement with dragons and how basically the two sides need to come together in order to help the greater good, which is always how it goes. I'm gonna read some more of this. Am I gonna finish it this week?
That's not a secret I'll never tell.
I can finally say I've read The Priory of the Orange Tree. Hey, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia. Don't look like I'm wearing clothes, do I? Hello, my friends. It has come to that time. I said I was gonna read this bad boy, and you know what? I will, or maybe I won't. You know what? I will try. That's the operative word. Let's talk about my history with this book, because The Priory of the Orange Tree is a book that I have a lot of history with, probably longer than most of my exes. So I got this book back in 2019, so the year it was released, and I picked this up, and I think that I slowly kind of read a little bit of it. If you all open your books and turn to page 200, that is where I left off. I believe I stopped at around like 1 something and then I like picked it up again. So now it is 3 years later. This is why I'm stressed. And I'm going to pick this up again. There's nothing wrong with this book. It wasn't that I put this book down because of any particular reason as far as I can remember. I guess had other things I wanted to read more, which unfortunately is the story of my life. And so now this, I was gonna say little guy, but like, you know what? Like you've seen it. You know how big it is. This guy has been sitting on my shelf and just staring at me for the last 3 years. And you know what? I think it is time to crack her open once more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to a concert today. That's why I look really fucking cute. Anyway, I'm going to sit down for a little bit before I order my food. I'm going to start like getting back into reading this. I don't have an audiobook. I don't have anything. I think that's also what kind of, I don't want to say drew me away from this book. I do think that if I had the audiobook for this book like readily available to me, because I'm not paying for it because I already bought the book, I would have probably read this sooner. I really am not a huge fantasy reader. Big books do really intimidate me, but I do really like reading fantasy audibly and then also like physically along with it. I think that has worked really well for me in the past, but we're gonna just go right into it, right where I left off. I'm hoping I don't have to go back because I feel like that would be, if I have to, I have to, but I don't want to. So we're gonna chronicle my time. I mean, like this is like how I have like nice bookmarks that I sell now on my shop, and this is literally an index card. So how far we've come. So I'm going to pick this up. I will let you know where I'm at, if I'm confused, if I'm dying. I'll keep you all updated. Hello, my friends. Good morning. I have not spoken really today. The concert last night was incredible. Like I literally like don't have words. I haven't, I guess, fully processed it. I don't know, I cried a lot. I really can't articulate how much that concert meant to me because it's for my favorite band, the Lumineers, who I have kind of grown up with. Yeah, they've been kind of a part of like every pivotal moment in my life, I feel like. So anyways, I laughed, I cried, I sang along, I jumped, I danced. It was a good time. However, after I felt really sick, and I was sick, so I'm kind of taking a chill day today. I really don't know what caused that. So anyways, I did end up, before we went, oh yes, right, I read, I think 30 pages. Yeah, I'm on page 232 now of Priory. I know what my dust jacket isn't on anymore. It's upstairs. Don't like reading with a dust jacket. Already this book is like 100 pounds. And I think the consensus right now is that I am starting to remember what has happened. I'm fully like aware of like what's happening presently, I would say. I'm pretty, I wouldn't say immersed is the right word because I don't have a real like, I don't know, like I need to be reading this right now, but I need to be reading this right now. Yeah, I think it's going okay. I think that as far as my memory goes, it's fine. I'm just not sure of like where it's headed, if that makes sense. I'm going to be basically reading this today. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of take it easy. So sit all down here, make sure to have my water. I'm going to just put on some reading vlogs. I'm now 224, no, I'm so dyslexic, it's hard. 324 pages, and I would say that I'm enjoying it more. I think that during the first kind of bit, it was a lot of me not only figuring out what's going on and the plot and what the plot is moving forward, but just kind of getting reacclimated with the world and the language of the book itself. And now that I kind of got a grip on that, I am having a much more enjoyable reading experience. Obviously, this is all my own doing. If you don't, like me, start a book, put it down, and then 3 years ago try to start it again, you won't have this problem probably. So it's just a me thing. I wouldn't say it's particularly anything about the story that is more interesting or intriguing to read about, but I just think that I'm more engrossed in it because it's not so unfamiliar anymore, and I've gotten kind of used to it, really. Yeah, with that being said, it's not blowing me away in any way, and I do think that, like, I don't want to say I don't think I'm gonna love this book, because, like, I want to love every book I pick up, but I don't know what about this book would make me love it. I am gonna go hang out with my family some more today. I've had so much tea today, it's like my new thing. I'm going to pick that back up and read more of it tomorrow, as it is Memorial Day. I think that I've decided that after I finish the Priory, I literally left it downstairs, I am going to reward myself by buying a book, because you know what, I'm planning on finishing it today because it's the last day of the month, and I feel like if I read 400 pages, over 400 pages really, because I just hit page 400 in the book, then I deserve a little reward. At least that is how I see it. Anyways, I'm literally just sitting down and reading today. I always say that's all I'm doing. I always do a lot of other things. I got my other things done. So I'm gonna go back to reading now. And I'm bopping along. I'm bopping along. I am liking how the romance is developing. I don't really care about the romance, but I'm liking that it's developing. But some interesting things are changing now in the book, which is interesting. So sitting on my floor. I took a like hour nap because I got like no sleep last night, so reading had become difficult. I don't know why I'm playing with this. It happened. Okay, so I am now 500 pages exactly through this book, so I have 300 pages left, and I will have to say that I am enjoying. I do find myself, I catch myself really. I'm sorry, I'll hold up the dust jacket if it'll actually make you feel better. So I think I am enjoying this book, but I do find myself constantly going, why is this so long? Or like, I have so much left. Like, there's so many characters in this book and so many kind of like intertwining stories, and it really isn't until like later in the book, at least as far as like what I've gotten to, that they start interacting. I'm like trying not to spoil anything, but yeah, that like the characters from their own different stories are kind of interacting, and the things and objectives and goals that they have are kind of coming together. A lot of like new things are happening, like there's like puzzles and like curses, and there's some misdirection going on. There's a lot of like fun things in that regard, but yeah, I definitely think that it's hard. It's definitely not fast to read. I mean, like I don't think it would take anyone 3 years besides me, but I do think that it is written in such a way that because it has so many different perspectives and such detailed, rich storytelling and writing, it is a lot slower to read and gives you a lot, maybe more information than you need to just kind of have the story, if that makes any sense. I mean, I think like if I was plotting this book, I would plot it and like it wouldn't be this long. So I'm not really sure about that, but I did notice, you know, halfway through the book that there is a glossary and is a list of characters, which, you know, would have been helpful, especially getting back into the book, but I guess it's good that I found that now. Those are my thoughts for now. I'm obviously going to go back to the book because I do like to sit on the floor here because it is kind of uncomfortable, and because if I sit on my bed or like the couch, I'm likely to fall asleep. Yes, okay, 500 pages in. I mean, should sit in the fan. I also realized I don't really like many of the characters. Actually, that's not true. I don't love many of the characters, and I don't support many of them and the decisions that they're making, but some of them I do. I like Loth. Loth is maybe my favorite character, probably. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, we are 600 pages into this book now, and I'm killing it, I'm demolishing it, I'm making it my bitch. It's a good time. Okay. I don't even know how to fucking... I have finally finished The Priory of the Orange Tree. This video took a lot longer than I anticipated. I really said, I'm gonna finish this in 5 days, and it really didn't happen. So it took a while, but I hope it was worth it. It was worth it for me because honestly, this book took 3 years out of my life. No, it didn't. But I started this book 3 years ago, and so I think that in some ways it has been, I don't want to say a hindrance on my reading, but something that I felt almost ashamed about. It's like dragged through a lot of my life, and it's kind of odd that I have this weird relationship with it at this point. It's like my ball and chain. I finished this book. I need to let you know my thoughts. My thoughts are, why? I just think in some ways me finishing this book, while it was such a feat for me, you know, and I feel like I can finally say, you know, I can finally say I've read The Priory of the Orange Tree, you know, in completion, or to completion. But I think that other than that, I really didn't get anything out of it. Okay, I'm sorry, like, am I sorry? I'm not really. Okay, this is a plot that, I give this 3 stars. This is a plot that is not entirely new, and I think something interesting about this book is that I knew the synopsis going into it. I knew it was about dragons, 2 different sides of the world, kind of view dragons in different ways, but eventually they're gonna have to come to pass. There's something bigger that's coming and they have to work together. And that synopsis, it's just what happens. That's literally what happens. There also is like a secret Priory of the Orange Tree Society going on, but there isn't a lot more to know about this book than the synopsis, and I think that's kind of what annoys me in some ways, because this really had the workings to be a fantasy that I really enjoyed and a book that I really enjoyed. I mean, besides the obvious overwriting, it has, you know, queer characters, it's a female written fantasy, and it has dragons, which is really fun, and it's a standalone, which I love standalones. So it has a lot of things that I would love in a story, but I think that because it didn't go any further than what I thought and just the bare bones of a synopsis, it just didn't do a lot for me. A lot of these characters were, I don't want to say insufferable, because like I obviously suffered through it, so I did. They weren't insufferable, but I think that it was very repetitive. It was a very repetitive story, and having so many perspectives just didn't work, I think, for this book. I think that it was great to have such a large cast of characters. I don't think that's where it struggled. I think that I didn't need to see every single person's day-to-day, every single person's little side quest. I don't think I needed that. I would, however, die for Loth. I think he is like a god among men. And I love him. It is a real struggle in a big fantasy like this, and the standalone also, to get the story out and make it new and interesting with characters that you remember and that stick with you. But I think that the story itself wasn't as expansive as it would lead you to believe, and didn't need to be this long at all. Like genuinely, like the romances in here were okay. Like not like, I don't think there was anything that really blew me out of the water. I don't think it was really bad by any means. I just don't think that it is worth the time and effort. I know people love this book, but I have seen more 3-star reviews, and I agree with that, you know? I don't think I would ever reread this. I don't know. In the future, when I think about this book, I'm going to think about how long it took me. But I'm also gonna think about maybe finding other books that have these elements that I've said I really do adore and I do love, and are the parts that I was interested in, but in different books. I still think I'm gonna look for more queer fantasies and written by women that are standalones. I think those are all things that definitely still check my boxes, but this was just an exception to that. An unfortunate one at that, but you know, what are you gonna do? I have finished my Everest. I have climbed Mount Everest, and I hope you did enjoy the journey. I don't know if I learned necessarily that much, but it was definitely weird. Weird experience for me. A long time coming. And let me know your thoughts if you have read this book, like what your thoughts are of it and the hype around it. I think that's another big reason why I picked it up initially, and a big reason why I never DNF'd it. Like, I think that that also alters so many people's, I mean, mine as well, perceptions of a story and a book going into it. And you know, maybe that's the lesson. Maybe we shouldn't listen to reviewers. Oh no, I'm out of a job. That's my thoughts. I thought it was interesting. It was okay. It was long. It happened. I will probably be donating this. Anyways, those are all my thoughts, feelings, and emotions, of which I don't have that many, to be quite honest. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe to all of the things, and I will see you in my next one.